My wife laughed in my face after I caught her cheating, saying, "What are you going to do about it? You need me more than I need you." 6 months later, she was counting pennies at the grocery store while I watched from my Bentley. Welcome to Revenge Galore. If you crave real gripping stories where justice hits hard and betrayal never goes unpunished, this channel is your new favorite place. Please subscribe. My name is Daniel Crawford, and at 52 I thought I understood power, loyalty, and love. 25 years of building Crawford Investment Partners into a $2 billion asset management company had taught me to read people and make calculated decisions. What I hadn't learned was that the person sleeping next to me every night could be my greatest threat. Victoria and I had been married for 12 years. She was 38, stunningly beautiful, and when we'd met, I'd believed myself the luckiest man alive. Our marriage had provided her with everything she'd ever wanted: a $10 million penthouse, unlimited shopping budgets, exclusive club memberships, and a social position that opened every door in Manhattan. I should have seen the signs earlier. The way she never asked about my work unless it involved spending money. The way she'd grown bored unless conversations involved vacation planning or home renovations. The way she'd started working out with a new personal trainer 3 months ago. But I'd been busy with major acquisitions, traveling constantly, and when I was home, I was buried in financial reports. Victoria had seemed content with her shopping, yoga classes, charity committees, and endless social calendar. That Tuesday in October changed everything. I'd been in London for a week handling a merger, but the deal collapsed on Monday night. Instead of staying for scheduled meetings, I caught the red-eye home, arriving at our penthouse at noon instead of Friday evening as planned. I used my key to enter quietly, thinking Victoria might still be sleeping. The penthouse was silent, but I could hear sounds from upstairs, voices from our bedroom. My first thought was that Victoria was on a phone call. I climbed the marble staircase with my luggage, planning to surprise her. But as I got closer, the voices became clearer, and I realized one was decidedly male. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. Through the gap, I could see Victoria in our bed with Alex Jackson, the heir to a real estate fortune who'd been pursuing her at social events for months. I'd found his attention amusing, confident in my wife's loyalty. They were naked, intimate, comfortable in a way that suggested this wasn't their first encounter. Victoria was laughing at something Alex had said, running her fingers through his hair with tenderness I'd thought was reserved for me. "Daniel's in London until Friday," she was saying. "We have the whole week." "Good," Alex replied. "I was getting tired of sneaking around. Maybe it's time you told him about us." Victoria laughed, a cold, calculating sound I'd never heard before. "Tell him? Alex, you don't understand Daniel at all. He's completely obsessed with me. He'd never divorce me even if he knew. He's too weak, too dependent on having me as his perfect wife. But don't you want to be with me openly?" "I want to be with whoever gives me the best life," Victoria said matter-of-factly. "Right now that's Daniel. He gives me everything I want, no questions asked. You're fun, Alex, but you're not worth giving up my lifestyle. So I'm just entertainment?" "You're very good entertainment," Victoria purred. "But let's be realistic. Daniel's worth hundreds of millions. Your trust fund is nice, but it's not Daniel-level wealth. I'm not stupid enough to trade down." "You're cold, Victoria. I like that about you. I'm practical. Daniel thinks he married a woman who loves him. He has no idea he married someone who loves his money more than anything else in the world." I stood frozen, listening to my wife describe our marriage as a financial arrangement and me as a weak, obsessed fool. The betrayal was devastating, but her casual cruelty was something else entirely. I pushed the door open. "Daniel?" Victoria gasped, grabbing a sheet. But instead of looking guilty, she looked annoyed, like I'd interrupted something important. Alex scrambled for his clothes, his face red with panic. "Victoria," I said calmly, "I think we need to talk." "It's not what you think," she said automatically, though her tone suggested she didn't much care what I thought. "Isn't it? Because it looks like you're in our bed with Alex Jackson, and it sounds like you've been planning this for a while." Alex was pulling on his pants, desperate to escape. "Daniel, I can explain." "Can you?" "I'd be interested to hear that explanation." Victoria sat up in bed, pulling the sheet around her like a royal robe. Her expression was transforming from annoyance to something that looked almost like amusement. "Actually, Alex, you should go," she said. "Daniel and I need to have a conversation." Alex grabbed his shirt and practically ran from the room. I heard the front door slam. Victoria and I stared at each other. She made no move to get dressed or look ashamed. Instead, she was studying me with a calculating expression. "How long?" I asked. "How long what?" "How long have you been having an affair with Alex?" Victoria shrugged. 3 months. Maybe 4. And how long were you planning to continue it? I hadn't really thought about an end date. I sat down in the chair by our window. Victoria, do you love me at all? And then she laughed. It wasn't nervous laughter. It was genuine amusement, as if I'd asked the most ridiculous question in the world. Love you? She said, still laughing. Daniel, you're 52 years old. You can't be that naive. Answer the question. I love what you provide for me. I love this penthouse, I love my credit cards, I love my social position. I love being Mrs. Daniel Crawford, wife of the brilliant investment banker. But love you as a person? When was the last time we had a conversation that didn't involve money? The words hit me like physical blows. Victoria? What are you going to do about it, Daniel? She interrupted, her voice taking on a mocking tone. Are you going to divorce me? Leave me? We both know you won't. Why wouldn't I? Because you're obsessed with me. Because you need me to be your perfect wife at all your business functions. Because you can't bear the thought of other men seeing me, touching me, having what you think belongs to you. You think I won't leave you? I know you won't leave me. Daniel, you're completely predictable. You'll be angry for a while, maybe sleep in the guest room, but eventually you'll forgive me because you can't imagine your life without me. And what about Alex? What about him? If you can't handle me having some fun on the side, I'll be more discreet. A business arrangement? Of course it's a business arrangement. Did you really think I married you for love? Daniel, you're old enough to be my father. You're boring, obsessed with work, and have all the romantic instincts of a spreadsheet. But you're rich, and that makes up for a lot. She was still laughing, enjoying my obvious pain. The look on your face, she continued, it's almost sad. Did you really believe I was in love with you? Daniel, I've been acting for 12 years. I deserve an award. I stood up slowly. Victoria, I want you to listen very carefully. Oh, are you going to threaten me? Are you going to tell me you'll cut off my credit cards? I'm going to tell you that you've made a very serious mistake. She laughed harder. A mistake? Daniel, the only mistake would be if I'd actually fallen in love with you. Victoria, I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you want to apologize? Do you want to try to save our marriage? She looked at me with genuine confusion. Save our marriage? Daniel, there's nothing to save. Our marriage is exactly what it's always been, a financial arrangement. The only thing that's changed is that you now know the truth. The truth? The truth that I never loved you. The truth that you're a meal ticket, not a husband. The truth that I'll keep doing whatever I want because you're too weak to stop me. She was still laughing when I left the room. I went to my study and closed the door. Victoria thought I was weak. She thought I was predictable. She thought I would accept her betrayal because I was too obsessed with her to fight back. She was wrong. I'd built my fortune by being patient, strategic, and ruthless when necessary. Victoria had just become my opponent. I opened my laptop and began making notes. Victoria thought she understood power because she'd been spending my money for 12 years. She was about to learn the difference between using power and actually having it. The next morning, Victoria acted as if nothing had happened. She came down to breakfast wearing a new designer dress, kissed me on the cheek, and asked what time I'd be home. I'm not sure, I said. I have meetings all day. Well, don't work too late. The Hartmans are having a party this weekend. I looked at her over my newspaper. She was applying lipstick, completely absorbed in her reflection. Victoria, after yesterday, you want to go to a party together? Daniel, I told you yesterday, our arrangement works. Nothing needs to change. And what's normal? Normal is you providing the lifestyle I'm accustomed to, and me being the perfect wife when you need one. After she left, I called my assistant, Margaret Thorne. Margaret had been with me for 15 years and understood the importance of discretion. Margaret, I need you to clear my schedule for the rest of the week. Cancel everything that isn't absolutely critical. Is everything all right, Mr. Crawford? Everything's about to be all right. But I need time to handle some personal matters. Next, I called my attorney, Richard Sterling. Richard had handled my first divorce and had insisted on an ironclad prenuptial agreement when I'd married Victoria. Richard, I need to see you today. Victoria's been having an affair. I'm ready to discuss options. I'll clear my afternoon. Daniel, before we meet, do you have evidence? I caught them yesterday. But Richard, I don't want to move quickly on divorce proceedings. I want to explore other options first. What kind of other options? I want to understand exactly what leverage I have within our existing marriage. What can I do legally to protect my assets and limit her access to resources? My third call was to Jackson Reeves, a private investigator who specialized in high-net-worth individuals. Jackson, I need comprehensive intelligence on my wife's activities, relationships, and dependencies. This is about the affair? This is about understanding the full scope of her life so I can make informed decisions about mine. That afternoon, I sat in Richard's office reviewing documents I hadn't looked at in 12 years. Daniel, you were smart to insist on this prenuptial agreement, Richard said. Victoria has no claim to your business assets, investment portfolios, or any property you owned before marriage. What about the penthouse? In your name only. So are all the investment accounts, art collection, cars, everything. And what does Victoria have access to? Joint checking accounts, credit cards you've given her, and whatever allowances you've set up. What's her total monthly access? Richard pulled out a financial summary. Approximately $50,000 per month through credit cards and allowances. I stared at the numbers. In 12 years, I'd given Victoria access to over $7 million for personal expenses. Richard, what are my legal options for restricting her access to these resources? Since the accounts are in your name, you can modify access at any time. Cancel credit cards, reduce allowances, change spending limits. What about household staff? All employees work for you. Their salaries come from accounts you control. And club memberships, subscriptions, services? All in your name, paid from your accounts. I was beginning to understand the scope of Victoria's dependency. For 12 years she'd lived like royalty, but she'd never actually owned anything. Richard, I want documentation that would allow me to systematically reduce Victoria's access while staying within legal boundaries. You want to financially isolate her? I want to help her understand the reality of our arrangement. That evening, Victoria came home with shopping bags from expensive stores. How was your day? She asked, kissing my cheek as if yesterday hadn't happened. Productive. How was yours? Wonderful. I found the most beautiful dress for the Hartman party. She was acting as if our conversation yesterday had never happened. Victoria, how much did you spend today? I don't know. I never really pay attention. Why? Just curious about your spending patterns. She looked at me suspiciously. Daniel, you're acting strange. I'm interested in understanding all aspects of our relationship. The terms are simple. You provide me with the lifestyle I want, and I provide you with the wife you need. And what happens if I decide I don't need that kind of wife anymore? You'll always need me, Daniel. Without me, you'd be a lonely old man with no life outside of work. The next morning, I began phase 1 of my strategic response. Victoria's routine was predictable. Yoga at 9, coffee with friends at 11, shopping until 3, spa appointments in the afternoon. All funded by credit cards drawing from accounts I controlled. At 10 a.m., while Victoria was in yoga class, I was at the bank canceling her primary credit card. Mr. Crawford, is there a problem with the account? No problem. I'm making adjustments to our financial arrangements. At 11, I called the spa where Victoria had standing appointments. This is Daniel Crawford. I need to cancel all future appointments for my wife, Victoria. At noon, I contacted American Express and canceled Victoria's Platinum card. At 1, I called Bergdorf Goodman and removed Victoria's name from our account. By 2 p.m., I'd systematically eliminated Victoria's access to every major credit card and store account. At 3:30, my phone rang. Daniel, my credit card isn't working. Victoria's voice was confused and panicked. Which credit card? Any of them. None of them are working. That's strange. Have you called the bank? The bank said the accounts have been closed. Closed? That doesn't sound right. Why don't you come home and we'll figure it out together? Victoria arrived home carrying no shopping bags for the first time in recent memory. Daniel, something's wrong with all my credit cards. Let me make some calls. I spent 10 minutes pretending to call banks. Victoria, it's the strangest thing. The banks are saying that I requested all your cards to be canceled. Did you? Of course not. Why would I do that? Then how did this happen? I have no idea. Let me contact our attorney and see if there's been identity theft. Victoria stared at me. Daniel, are you lying to me? Why would I lie about something like this? Because you're angry about Alex. Victoria, if I were going to retaliate about Alex, do you think I'd do it by canceling credit cards? That seems petty. She didn't look convinced. How long will it take to fix this? I'm not sure. These things can be complicated. In the meantime, you'll have to use cash. I don't have any cash. I pulled out my wallet and handed her $100. Will this help for today? She stared at the cash like it was contaminated. $100? It's what I have with me. Daniel, I spend more than $100 on coffee. Well, Maybe this is a good opportunity to be more budget conscious. The next morning, I implemented phase 2. Victoria's lifestyle depended on an army of service providers. Personal trainers, yoga instructors, massage therapists, hairstylists, nail technicians. All paid through accounts I controlled. At 9 a.m. I called her personal trainer. James, this is Daniel Crawford. I need to suspend Victoria's training sessions indefinitely. At 10 I called the yoga studio. This is Daniel Crawford. I need to cancel my wife's unlimited membership. At 11 I contacted the spa. I need to cancel all appointments for Victoria Crawford and close her account. At noon I called her hair salon. This is Daniel Crawford. Please cancel all future appointments for my wife. By 1 p.m., I'd systematically eliminated every service provider Victoria used. At 2 p.m. my phone started ringing. Daniel, the yoga studio says my membership has been canceled. That's impossible. Let me call them. I spent minutes pretending to argue with the studio. Victoria, they're saying there's been a billing problem. Something about payment issues with the credit card we use for your membership. But that's the same card that was declined yesterday. You're right. This credit card problem is bigger than I thought. Victoria spent the next hour calling service providers and learning that her access to 12 years of luxury services had evaporated overnight. Daniel, this is a disaster. It's a temporary inconvenience. I have the Hartman party this weekend. I need my hair done, I need a manicure, I need a facial. Can't you do those things yourself? Victoria stared at me like I'd suggested surgery. Do them myself? People do their own hair and nails all the time. I don't know how. Maybe this is a good opportunity to learn. Meanwhile, I was implementing the social destruction phase. I made a call to a contact at the society pages. Jennifer, this is Daniel Crawford. I have information that might interest your readers about my wife Victoria's affair with Alex Jackson. Mr. Crawford, are you sure you want this public? I'm sure I want the truth public. Within days, rumors about Victoria and Alex were circulating through our social circle. Victoria's phone rang constantly with friends asking if the stories were true. Victoria, darling, I heard terrible rumors, her friend Melissa said during one call I overheard. What did you hear? That you and Alex Jackson have been having an affair. Melissa, you know how people talk. Several people mentioned seeing you together at romantic restaurants. And the Ritz-Carlton? Victoria's face went pale. Someone had been watching her carefully. This kind of scandal could ruin your reputation, Melissa continued. No one wants to be associated with someone who's cheating on their husband. By Thursday, Victoria's affair was the primary topic of conversation at every social gathering in the city. On Friday, Alex Jackson called her. Victoria, we need to talk about these rumors. Alex, we just need to wait until things calm down. Victoria, things aren't going to calm down. Everyone knows about us. So I can't be associated with this scandal. I can't afford to be known as someone who breaks up marriages. You're not breaking up my marriage. Then why are people saying Daniel's being humiliated? Alex, are you breaking up with me? I'm being realistic about what this relationship is costing both of us. What is it costing you? My reputation. My social standing. My business relationships. And what about me? Victoria, what is it costing you? Victoria couldn't think of an answer except Alex himself. Alex, I thought you cared about me. I do care about you. But I care about my future more. After Alex hung up, Victoria sat staring at her phone. Daniel, Alex ended things. I'm sorry to hear that. He said he couldn't afford the scandal. That's understandable. Alex has a reputation to protect. What about my reputation? What about it? Doesn't he care that I'm being hurt by these rumors too? Are you being hurt by the rumors? Of course I'm being hurt. What? You told me our marriage was just a business arrangement. If that's true, why would it matter what people think about your affair? Because people don't understand our arrangement. Maybe the problem isn't that people don't understand our arrangement. Maybe the problem is that our arrangement doesn't actually exist. Victoria stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying that maybe you convinced yourself that I accepted your affair because it was easier than dealing with the consequences. Daniel, what are you talking about? I'm talking about your credit cards, your services, your social isolation, and your public humiliation. Victoria's face went white. You're behind all of this? I'm behind protecting myself from someone who was trying to use me. Use you? Victoria, you told me yourself that you never loved me, that our marriage was a financial arrangement, that you married me for money. That was the truth. And the truth has consequences. What kind of consequences? The kind you're experiencing. No money, no social standing, no affair partner, no friends. Victoria stood up, her face flushing with anger and panic. Daniel, you can't do this to me. Can't do what? You can't cut me off financially. You can't ruin my reputation. Can't I? I'm your wife. Are you? Because according to you, you're a business partner who provides services in exchange for financial support. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. And Victoria, if our marriage is a business arrangement, then I have the right to evaluate whether I'm getting value for my investment. And you think you're not getting value? I think I'm getting someone who cheats on me, mocks me, and openly admits she doesn't love me. Daniel, please don't do this. Do what? Destroy my life. Victoria, I'm not destroying your life. I'm just not subsidizing it anymore. Same thing. Is it? Daniel, without your money, I have nothing. And whose fault is that? It's not my fault that I don't have my own career. Isn't it? Victoria, you've had 12 years to build a career, develop skills, create independence. Instead, you chose to spend $50,000 a month on personal expenses. Over the next month, Victoria's situation continued to deteriorate. The social scandal had made her persona non grata. Her friends stopped calling. Her charity boards quietly removed her. Her invitations dried up. Without access to credit cards or services, her appearance declined. Her hair grew out, revealing gray roots. Her nails became chipped. Her skin, deprived of professional treatments, began to show her actual age. Most importantly, she had no money. Daniel, I need grocery money. How much do you need? I don't know. Enough for food. For a week? I've never bought groceries before. I gave her $50. $50? Daniel, that's not enough. It's enough for basic food. What about everything else? Shampoo, soap, makeup, clothes. Victoria, normal people manage their personal expenses on budgets. I don't know how to live on a budget. Then learn. Victoria stared at the $50. Daniel, this is impossible. I can't live like this. Like what? Like a poor person. Victoria, you're not poor. You're married to a wealthy man. Then why don't I have access to money? Because you haven't demonstrated that you can be trusted with money. So you're going to keep me poor forever? I'm going to keep you dependent until you learn to appreciate what you have. What do I have? You have a home, food, and shelter. But I don't have any freedom. Victoria, you had complete freedom for 12 years. How did you use it? She didn't answer. You used it to betray me, mock me, and take me for granted. Daniel, this isn't fair. Isn't it? I made a mistake. You made a choice. 6 months later, Victoria had gotten a job as a receptionist at an art gallery, the only position she could find. She made $30,000 a year. She had learned to do her own hair, buy her own groceries, and live without luxury services. She had lost weight from stress and walking to work to save transportation money. Most importantly, she had learned the difference between wanting to be with someone and needing to be with someone. Daniel, I've been thinking about us. And what have you concluded? I've concluded that I want to earn the right to be your wife again. How do you plan to do that? By proving that I can love you without depending on you. And how do you plan to prove that? By building a life I'm proud of, independent of your money. Victoria, you'll never make enough money to be financially equal to me. I know. But I can make enough money to choose to be with you instead of needing to be with you. What about Alex? What about him? Do you still think about him? I think about how foolish I was to think that excitement and passion were more important than trust and commitment. And now I understand that real love isn't about how someone makes you feel. It's about how you choose to treat them. And how do you choose to treat me? With respect, honesty, and gratitude. And if I said I wasn't ready to trust you again? Then I'd keep working to become someone worthy of your trust. For how long? For as long as it takes. I looked at Victoria. The woman sitting across from me bore little resemblance to the arrogant, cruel person who had laughed in my face a year ago. She was thinner, tired from working, but there was something in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Humility, determination, and what might have been genuine love. Victoria, if we try again, it will be on completely different terms. I understand. Terms where you earn my trust instead of assuming you deserve it. Terms where you contribute instead of just taking. Terms where you prove every day that you choose to be here. I understand that I destroyed something precious, and that if I'm lucky enough to get a second chance, I need to spend the rest of my life proving I deserve it. And you're willing to do that? I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be worthy of your love. Victoria, my love isn't something you can earn back by saying the right words. I know. I need to prove it through my actions. And Daniel? Yes. Thank you. For what? For teaching me the difference between being loved and being used. And for teaching me the difference between loving someone and using them. 2 years later, Victoria and I renewed our wedding vows. It was a small ceremony. Victoria wore a simple dress she'd bought with money she'd earned, having progressed from receptionist to assistant curator. She still lived modestly, still did her own hair and nails, still took public transportation to work. But she did these things by choice now, not because she had no other options. The woman I remarried was fundamentally different from the woman I'd originally married. She was humbler, stronger, and more genuine. She was someone who had learned that love is about giving, not taking. Sometimes people ask me if I regret the way I handled Victoria's betrayal. If I regret systematically destroying her lifestyle and forcing her to rebuild herself from nothing. The answer is no. Because the woman I'm married to now is someone worthy of love and respect. The woman I was married to before was someone who saw me as a financial resource, not a human being. Victoria learned that actions have consequences. She learned that cruelty creates its own punishment. She learned that love is something you earn through your choices, not something you're entitled to because of a marriage certificate. Most importantly, she learned that real power isn't the ability to spend someone else's money, it's the ability to take care of yourself and choose to be with someone because you love them, not because you need them. The revenge I took on Victoria wasn't about destroying her. It was about forcing her to face the truth about herself and giving her the opportunity to become someone better. She took that opportunity. Not everyone would have. But that's what separates people who deserve second chances from people who don't. The willingness to do the hard work of becoming worthy of forgiveness. Victoria did that work. And because she did, we have a marriage now that's based on love and respect instead of dependency and exploitation. That's not revenge. That's justice. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, justice and love can coexist. What do you think about dealing with betrayal and the importance of recognizing true character in relationships? How do you balance forgiveness with protecting yourself from people who might use your love against you? Like and subscribe to Revenge Galore for more stories where intelligence and determination triumph over cruelty and entitlement. Because sometimes the best revenge is giving someone the chance to prove they're better than their worst moment, and sometimes they actually take it.